Hospital, Porter's Pride and Dignity, stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV. And I am here at the Olympic Stadium in London, in a completely rebuilt area of London, in Stratford, which is East London. And I've got a map from about 15 years ago in my bag, and when I get here it's just completely useless. I'm here with Chris Moffett of the Kent Freedom Movement.
Hello.
You might have seen him before, yeah. You might have seen him before on a couple of other productions. Now, let me just give you a quick tour of the area. It's a bit hard to see because, I mean, there's we're not allowed on the site. We thought we might be allowed in the site, and we're not, which is a bit of a disappointment. But basically, this is about as close as we can get. Now that there is the actual main stadium of the Olympics. It's a huge area here. There's a strange sculpture here by an Indian guy, is it?
Anish Kapoor.
Anish Kapoor.
And there was someone else designed it. I've forgotten his name.
It looks like some twisted, melted girders mingled together, which I don't know if that's a bad omen or not, but we'll come to that in a minute. But,
yeah, I think it looks like mangled DNA, that sort of thing.
That's also very sinister.
Yeah.
That there is the water sports centre, you know, and that is where all the athletes get together and they urinate on each other for fun. Not really. It's not that kind of water sports. No, they actually swim and dive and play water polo and other things. To begin with, I mean, something immediately strikes me about that stadium. That's the formation of the floodlights. I've never seen anything like that before. Now, what we have here are pyramidal or triangular-shaped sort of buttresses and frames with triangular-shaped arrangements of lights. And there's about, I think there's 12 of them around the stadium.
Yeah, 12.
Is it 12?
Yeah.
And that's very interesting because 12, of course, is the number of the sun disk. Now, what do you think about that, then, Chris?
Well, actually, you tell me more about that, because I was expecting there to be 13, but there's not. There's 12. So what do you think the 12 means? The sun disk?
Well, the sun disk is basically, it's like a sign of the zodiac. It's a 12 segment circle divided into 12 segments, which you see on various places, usually with something in the middle. Now, in a case of sort of Christian imagery, you often get pictures of Jesus on the cross with the sun behind him with 12 spikes coming out of it, for instance. These symbolise things. Obviously, Jesus had 12 apostles, and you have other things like King Arthur had 12 knights around his round table.
Yeah.
The famous mural, The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci in Italy, has Jesus with 6 disciples on either side. He's in the middle of them, and they're divided into 2 groups of 3 each on each side. So there's 4 groups of 3, things like that. It's the signs of the zodiac, the months of the year, the seasons, things like that.
Yeah.
But, you've been on the Olympic site. Can you tell us a bit about your experiences when you were on the Olympic site?
Yeah, I was there a couple of months ago, and I just went there to check out a few things, and one of them was to see if there were any funny smells, because there are reports of, and you know, even mainstream reports of it being a toxic dump, and also nuclear waste being involved, both here and at the Dome as well. So I did indeed stand a lot closer than we are today. Where I stood is closed off now, and there are a couple of drains that really smelt very, very chemically.
Oh dear.
And it was awful.
You want to put that up?
Really awful.
Now this is a toxic brownfield site, I believe. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Of course, the Millennium Dome is also built on one of these places, which is basically dating back almost to the start of the Industrial Revolution. This was a place where you would put all kinds of chemicals and waste and slag and everything you can imagine just dumped here. Now, you were telling me that on the Isle of Dogs area, or just below where the other area where the dome is, nothing grows there. You can't plant trees or anything at the moment.
Any plants that they have there are potted plants because they can't grow, and the dome is actually supposed only to have a lifespan, which is very unusual for a building that's only built in like 2000 or finished in 2000 or 1999, whenever it was, of 25 years. So a lifespan of 25 years for a building, a brand new building like that. That's really strange. So yeah, there must be something going on there, as far as them expecting there to be problems with the toxicness of what's going on there.
Obviously, yeah.
Because they didn't do a complete clean-up job. They only did a partial clean-up job, and it's hopefully they don't get away. The powers that be don't get away with doing a terror attack, either there or here. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because if it does, there's going to be all sorts of chemicals let loose in London and the surrounding areas. So, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's ironic. I find it's ironic. I mean, that environmental movements are not taking this sort of thing more seriously. If they put as much effort into cleaning up these areas as they do trying to stop us releasing carbon, TM, emissions, wouldn't it be wonderful? I mean, they'd get this sorted in no time, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, unfortunately, organisations like Greenpeace and the Green Party are all part of the establishment. They're just the left-wing robot radical arm of the establishment.
That's a shame.
And a lot of them are well-meaning people. They don't realise that the whole game of politics is a complete con. Yeah. And it's all run by the same people. I mean, you look at the oil companies, you've got Rothschilds, Rockefellers behind the oil companies, and you've got them behind the green agenda as well, and connected in with the Club of Rome, who is the environmental think tank that advises the UN.
Oh my goodness,
so,
that's it. A lot of very big establishment figures in the Green Party as well, and in Greenpeace. Aristocratic people, figures like that. Politicians, pundits like George Monbiot and people like that who are giving people who question the carbon emission agenda a very hard time. He's carrying out character assassinations on them, things like that.
Yeah.
It's
I think this Olympics. Just want to talk briefly about the security measures that they've got for this Olympics. I mean, London's just going to become a complete lockdown. It's going to be an horrendous Big Brother security zone.
Yes.
And it's very apt that the Olympic flame is being transported at the moment. And the first time that the Olympic flame came from Greece to the Olympic venue was in the 1936 Hitler Olympics, the Berlin Olympics. And this is essentially the Berlin Olympics Mark II, and then some.
Yeah, and of course we have a secret fascist state. Well, not even so secret now. I mean, we have. We're in for a pretty. A lot of Londoners are getting very itchy about this, and I don't blame them. I mean, there's one thing I wanted to say was that if toxic gases are present here, don't expect to see any world record performances from the athletes at this ground, even if everything goes according to plan, because people coming to visit here and people competing are the athletes and the spectators are going to be breathing it in, so it's going to affect their performance, which is going to affect the quality of the games. As you said, any sort of explosion that happens here will cause this toxin to rise up, and we have on top of that this police state, which you were talking about. I mean, there's on some of these buildings we see around us, they're going to put surface-to-air missiles.
I don't think quite here, but close by.
Yeah.
And on Blackheath, I think they've got them as well.
That's where we went. That's where they've got that strange stone circle we went to the other day.
No, that's not Blackheath.
Oh, right.
That's I've forgotten where.
That was Hilly Fields in Lewisham, wasn't it?
Or, Hilly Fields. Yeah. It's not quite
right.
Blackheath. But yeah, I mean, who knows? There might possibly be a world record, because I can imagine, with all this militarization of the Olympics, that in the athletic stadium, they're probably going to, instead of using an ordinary starting pistol, I think they might use something like an AK-47. Someone like Usain Bolt, he'll just be crapping his pants so much about the starter with this gun, he'll probably want to get away from him as quick as possible. So he might take 2 seconds off the 100 metres world record. Who knows?
Well, I think if you've got an incentive to run, I think anyone could become a world record holder. That's it. Yeah. Oh, but it's a strange affair, because we have the security. Is it stopped? Oh, good. Yeah. The security measures here are unbelievable. I mean, we've never had anything like an Olympics before. Now, these are anti-terrorist measures. Now, what they've done for anti-terrorist measures, they brought an aircraft carrier. They've actually moored an aircraft carrier in the River Thames, HMS Ocean. Now, this is where we come to an interesting point, which I've spoken of before. Now, I'm not storming Norman. I'm not a military expert, you know, but you do have to ask the question: if you get past the emotional and psychological impact of seeing this war machine on your doorstep, you've got to ask yourself, be a bit more rational and think: what good is an aircraft carrier against terrorists? The aircraft carriers only used to fight other ships at sea. Yeah. What good are they against terrorists? Of course, they're using it as a helicopter base, but then you can use helicopter bases. There's plenty of places inland you can use a helicopter base. This is why I suspect it's actually being done for psychological effect.
Yeah, it's all for show. It's also partially, I think, the security services in these times of fake austerity, you know, that are deliberately imposed. They're being made to fight for their budgets. Now they've been given, you know, a lot of money for this security budget for the Olympics, and I think they're essentially, some of them, trying to justify their existence. So they need to justify why, you know, that they're not going to get sacked in these austerity measures. Yeah. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the top policemen and army people are secretly hoping for some sort of attack because it will justify their job. That's how selfish people can be. Yeah. You know, because then if that happens, then these people ain't going to go off our streets. There's like about 13,500, I think it is, troops are going to be on the streets of London. Yeah. And this is more than is in Afghanistan. And I think the plan is for these people not to go away. Yeah, and it's the point. There is no clause in any of the licensing that is going on in these games that says that these security measures have to be withdrawn a certain amount of time after the Olympics. There is no clause at all. They can keep them there for as long as they like, and if they can find some way to justify it to the public, they will do. We're looking at a trial run here for a police state. And I understand there's also a company involved here, I believe, is also involved in Israel in dealing with accused of some of the atrocities in Israel against the Palestinian people by the Zionist state that's ruling that so-called country. What's this company about? Well, they're called G4S, but I can't remember the exact details. Yeah. I don't think they've been actually involved in any killing or whatever, right. but they're just involved in some sort of security arrangement regarding Gaza. Yeah. I can't remember what, but you know, all these companies are corrupt to the core. You know, G4S, I mean, they're starting to come into the privatisation of our police force now. Yeah,
interestingly, I might have ended up working for them myself when I was a porter, because they applied for a contract to run the facility services at my hospital. Luckily, they didn't win it, and we remained NHS. But there was a time when G4S wanted to get in, and I might have ended up working for them myself. So, a bit of a relief there. I didn't. But
at least with all these security measures that they've got, at least they haven't totally taken the piss and called it the friendly games. You know, yeah. Apparently the motto of the games is inspire a generation. Well, to what? Join the Gestapo?
Yeah, exactly. It's I mean, there's a parallel here with actually Heathrow Airport, because I was at Heathrow Airport, and again we had not. I'm sure there was real security there, of course, but there was also tanks parked outside, you know. And I thought, even then, I thought to myself, what use is a tank, thanks mate, about against terrorists? You know, I'm not a military expert, but you know, surely a tank is no use against terrorists. But again, it's every bit as much a psychological attack as it is a physical attack against the people, you know, to do this. There's more we got to discuss. I think, should we take a little break, and then I think there's a few more things we want to discuss, so we'll be back in a minute. Stay tuned.